This is the Anything Goes Project video stream. Please be patient, the show will begin momentarily. Remember, the show can be reached via email at stalkermailbox@gmail.com, or simply call in and leave us a voicemail at 361-433-5739. If you like the show, please subscribe and leave us a rating. This helps the show to be seen. More video streams can be found on the Anything Goes Project YouTube channel. To help the show, subscribe and like the channel. The Anything Goes Project can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere you get your podcast media from. You're listening to the Anything Goes Project. Interesting topics, interesting things. Real stories by real people. Your host is Mike. The Anything Goes Project is a production of M&C Designs. Be advised, this show may not be suitable for all ages. Many of the topics are for mature audiences only. The explicit tag is there for a reason. If you would like to contact the show, email us at stalkermailbox@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 361-433-5739. And now, on with the show.
Good evening, everybody. This is Mike with the Anything Goes Project, and tonight we're going to do another After Dark edition. And as you'll hear, I'm bringing in Mr. Robbie Robertson.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing tremendous. Even better that you can't see me, so you can't make Tom Holland jokes.
Well, if for the people watching on video, you'll notice the out of the blank logo there. Robbie, what the hell? I thought you said your camera was cracked.
I'm full of surprises, good sir.
Okay, so there we go. He's here. And everybody look at him. There you go. Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
No, stop.
Dude, I seriously, man, I saw that picture that I sent to you, and honestly, I just glanced over and I went, what's Robbie doing with her? And then I went, no, wait a minute, that's Tom Holland.
Dude, so many people are commenting, and then it ended up going on to Twitter. Another podcaster, I ended up put it on Twitter, and it's gotten 10,000 retweets, and it's just, I'm like, if this is how I meet Tom Holland, just know he's getting beat up.
Or if that's how you meet Tom Holland and they're offering you a lucrative contract to be a stand-in.
Yeah, I just watched a Friends episode, and you can tell they switched out the girl that plays Monica.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the episode, like you could tell it's a completely different person from like a side view. I was like, my life is a lie.
Yeah. I've been rewatching The West Wing. That's a good series.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a show. They just put it on Netflix. It was a show that was on in the early 2000s and so on. It's a good show. It's got Charlie Sheen plays the president of the United States.
Oh, then you know it's going to be good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, his dad.
Oh, yeah.
The president. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, guys, tonight, After Dark edition. So we've obviously got to talk about some weird shit. So the reason I brought this topic up to you, Robbie, is because I've heard 6 interviews this week with several different people that were involved in this, that were actually on duty when this happened. And it's the USS Nimitz UFO incident. And there's a lot of stuff that's been going on with that, where you listen to these guys that were involved with it, the fighter pilots that were actually up there, and they got to physically see this stuff that was going on. These UFOs are unidentified flying objects. So, I mean, I've got several audio clips I'm going to play for us tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer out there for anybody who may feel the need to bitch about it. Every single one of my audio clips tonight has come from a news source, which was aired publicly on public TV. So it's
news source as in Wikipedia.
No. News source. The audio is coming from news agencies that have been reporting on this.
Isn't Wikipedia that?
Well, sort of, but yeah, we may be going over the Wikipedia article too as well.
I like to edit Wikipedia and put fun facts in there for people.
And and then the person that actually owns a Wikipedia page can't do shit about it.
Actually, they have people that moderate that page pretty heavily. I put something in there about Sparta in an article about Raisin Bran, and they took it out like 20 minutes later. Like, it wasn't up there very long.
Well, I want to go ahead and play our first clip so you guys can kind of hear a little bit what's going on. And this actually came from, of all the places, I don't even watch Fox News, but Fox News actually covered it. So we'll do this small little clip, and a lot of these clips are between 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes. So if we'll just stand by, listen to this, you're actually going to hear the anchor talking to one of the fighter pilots that was involved in this.
UFOs have been the stuff of conspiracy theorists for decades, often mocked for talking about it, but maybe they shouldn't be mocked. Commander David Fravor spent 18 years as a naval aviator or pilot. In 2004, he had an unforgettable encounter with an aircraft he said was defying the laws of physics. Former Commander Fravor joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled, and then we have real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico.
Yep.
On a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb, we're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you estimate the speed?
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun, it took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
Even now, even 13 years later, is there anything that you know of capable of this kind of behavior?
No, there's nothing I know of. I mean, when we saw the video with the IR, it has no exhaust, no discernible things of anything form of propulsion. And this thing came from a dead hover over the water, just kind of moving around, to a climb up to about 12,000 feet to rapidly accelerating away in a climb. And in less than 2 seconds, it was gone. And you figure you're talking 50 miles of visibility, and you can easily see an object that size easily out to 10 miles, and it just disappeared in seconds.
What would be the effects on a human pilot of the G-forces involved in that altitude change?
Well, the altitude wouldn't be bad. It would be the acceleration of the object.
That's right.
Honestly, I wanted to fly it.
Yeah,
but,
I bet.
There's, talking to some physicists, they don't think the human body could handle that kind of force with that acceleration.
It doesn't sound like the human body could. So bottom line, what do you think this was?
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
Okay, Robbie, so what do you think of that?
I mean, it kind of sounds like what Bob Lazar was kind of talking about in the Joe Rogan podcast. Like, he was going on saying that he saw something make a complete 180-degree flight turn that no jets basically possible were able to do at the time.
Commander David Fravor
Sorry.
Well, thank you. But it's more like the concept, like, I mean, is it out of the realm of possibility that there could be, some type of unidentified flying object that could come across our path. I mean, it's very common with pilots only because they fly at like high times during night. I forgot what they called. It's like soaring rockets at night or something, where the bunch of flight pilots encountered a bunch of like white orbs they couldn't explain in the sky, and they chalked it up to like eye hallucinations, like stuff your brain does, these auditory tricks. I'm like, but there's stuff that's unexplained.
And you think about it, a lot of time they're hallucinating or doing something. Pilots are some of the most highly trained individuals as far as their job goes, specifically military fighter pilots. And it wasn't just this guy's testimony. There's been several of them. There were people that were actually in on the actual carrier watching the radar telemetry and everything coming from these jets. And they couldn't explain what was going on either. But here's the part that I kind of thought, where I told you, it kind of, some of the stuff that was going on with this kind of sounded hinky. Well, the reason I said that was because after this happened, see, the USS Nimitz is an aircraft carrier. For those of you who may be listening, Google it. Google USS Nimitz. That's MIMITZ and UFO encounter. You'll find out that the government was actually monitoring these tic-tac shaped objects. We don't know what they are. Let's just go ahead and say that. We don't know what they are. For almost 2 weeks from other ships. And this was the first time that a ship actually had aircraft in the air and was like, well, we're gonna engage and see what this is. And that was when they got to see the erratic flight patterns. One pilot actually described, and I've got the audio of it, of this thing shooting straight down and actually going into the ocean and disappearing. And then whenever he flew down to bank it and got level to where he could see the water, it shot out of the water and was gone.
I love it how whenever something like this happens, there's always people that come out saying it's probably an equipment malfunction, or maybe the pilot was experiencing severe exhaustion or something. I'm like, or maybe it's something crazy that we don't understand yet, so we're just giving it a simple excuse. The fact that in 2017 was basically 13 years after the incident, and that's when we started to that's when they released the footage to the public of what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hold on a second, wait a minute.
And here's the other thing. Why did all of a sudden helicopters show up on that aircraft carrier? Men in suits get out, walk through the aircraft carrier, and they say, we need all of this equipment that recorded it. Anything that's not hooked up to it, you erase it completely. We want the equipment. And they pulled the equipment out that had all the data on it.
I mean, we have a program in our Department of Defense basically to analyze like UFO sightings. It's called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And I mean, like,
yeah. And so these guys knew what was going on. They, like I said, they had been monitoring this for over 2 weeks. So, and they explained that in this, even in the audio clip I have with Neil deGrasse Tyson on here, he explains that, hey, look, we pumped a shitload of money into this to find out if this stuff was a threat, but all the secrecy about it, that's what's got everybody suspicious on this, because there was a lot of secrecy in it, and they did not and here's, even though it was secrecy, they didn't make anybody sign a non-disclosure,
so anybody could have talked about it.
Yeah. And several of the pilots have come forward, several of the engineers that were actually monitoring the radar and all the telemetries and everything have come forward and said, look, this is what happened that night. And all their stories corroborate. And these people don't live around each other or anything like that, but their stories corroborate, and they're able to piece together everybody's story and say, look, something happened. We don't know what the hell it was. We don't have shit that flies like that. I listened to an interview with a physicist that actually described how these things were moving, watching the videos that they had. And he said a human being, if they were in that vehicle and there was nothing in it special, like what you would see in sci-fi movies, inertial dampeners and things like that. They said if a human being was in there just strapped into a seat, like in a jet plane, and left at that speeds, basically it would turn you into jello.
I mean, have you ever seen the pilots go through G-force training?
Yeah, it's insane. It's like the human body can withstand up to like 8 Gs.
Yeah, and they look like goo basically towards like the end when they get closer to 8 Gs, and you basically pass out. And actually, that's where they invented hooking, which is when pilots feel like they're about to pass out when they're flying at high altitudes. They go like hut-choo, hut-choo, hut, and it's basically forcing oxygen into your brain so you don't pass out.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because if they didn't sign a non-disclosure. So the official statement or the official release of the video was in 2017 by the Department of Defense, but there were people already putting the documents and stuff already on the internet for people to see. It's where they got the internet leaks from.
right. But at that point, everybody was like, yeah, whatever. And then in 2017, the video gets released officially by the Navy, and everybody's like, oh, wait, what the hell? I mean, these dudes are hitting podcasters are hitting these guys up left and right, trying to get them on their show to talk about this. I mean, it's been insane. Like I said, I've listened to 6 interviews this week with different people from this that were on the Nimitz. So it's kind of insane. So I guess right at this moment, I'll read a little bit from the article so people can understand what's going on. It says the USS Nimitz UFO incident refers to a radar visual encounter of an unidentified flying object by U.S. fighter pilots of the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group in 2004. The encounter also included an engagement with the UFO by Commander Strike Fighter Squadron 41. The primary encounter occurred during a combat training exercise being conducted in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Southern California on 14th of November 2004. Which purportedly related sightings occurring in the days before and after this encounter. In 2015, or a 2015 account of the incident on fightersweep.com interviews one of the pilots, and subsequent news reports describe the sighting of an unidentified flying object by 6 Navy Super Hornet jet fighters, or fighter jets. 13 years after the incident in November of 2017, infrared footage of the encounter was released to the public. According to the Washington Post, the video was released by former intelligence officer Luis Elizondo to shed light on a sensitive Department of Defense operation to analyze reported UFO sightings, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. That's the one that you just mentioned. And from there, the article keeps going, talks about the Freedom of Information Act requests that people have been sending in, wanting more information. I mean, the public, I honestly feel that if the government is doing research into this, our tax dollars are funding it, and there's nothing that I would say it'd be sensitive material. Like, we know for a fact this isn't Russians invading our airspace or something like that. Yeah, release the information. The public has a right to know, I think.
Well, the problem is, this is my easy fix for Area 51. Just charge $50 a head to go into Area 51 and see what there's stuff in there that they don't want you to see.
I told you that last time.
What?
The charge at the gate.
Yeah,
everybody's running. Hold up, guys. We don't want to shoot anybody. Look, y'all can come in. It's always been an open policy, $50 a head.
Yeah, you're gonna either get messed up when you leave there, or you're gonna see some stuff and be like, I knew it. It's the whole concept. But the Freedom of Information Act only really releases stuff like 15 years, 20 years after someone who was involved with it has died or something. But I'm like, if you really are trying to hide unidentified flying objects from people, then why do you have established programs that are meant to monitor these types of things? You're already giving people that hint that there is something else out there that we should be aware of. So when something like this happens, it's like, just show people, like, don't hide it from us, because when you end up hiding it from us, it turns into this giant thing where people end up getting mad. It's like when you tell a secret and then it finally gets out there.
Yeah, and I mean, just show us the video footage and go, and just say, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know how to explain it. You decipher it yourself. Let people fight on the internet about it. That's what Reddit's for.
Or we release the information and the government's like, hey guys, we don't know what it is, which would in turn would encourage people to get out there and start looking. Or coming forward going, hey, yeah, I saw your video that y'all released, guys, or the Army or Navy or whoever, guys. I'm glad y'all released it. I have a video footage similar to that. Check it out and let's compare. Let's see if we can. Maybe there's something in mind that you guys didn't get in yours. You see what I mean?
I mean, everybody almost everybody on the planet is carrying around a freaking high definition camera now. Yeah, in your pocket, basically, the iPhone. But I think that's probably why they turned to Neil deGrasse Tyson. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, I don't even know really what to explain here, because they're looking at him like, you know a lot about the stars. Tell us, is there any
Yeah.
type of weather anomaly or something like asteroid or something that could have happened, that could have came and did this or something?
Mm-hmm.
Something unexplanatory, at least in our minds. But you have a better
You'll like his
concept.
answer to it. You'll like his answer to it. I've actually got it. So let me play real quick. There's another. I've got, like I said, I've got a total of one. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 6 tracks tonight that I was going to play. So we can play one, talk about it real quick, and then we'll play another one. So this one comes from a totally different news source. This one comes from CNN.
Commander David Fravor still can't explain what he says he saw that day. November 2004, the Navy fighter pilot was on a training mission west of San Diego when he was ordered to check out something in the water not far away. On a clear day, over a smooth ocean, he saw the object, waves breaking over it, and says he saw something hovering above.
Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and pause it real quick. Guys, if you're listening to this on the podcast form or if you're watching it on video, head over to YouTube and actually Google the USS Nimitz Tic Tac video footage. And you can actually watch the footage that was released by the United States Navy. So we'll keep it going.
Of it.
It's randomly moving north, south, east, west, just random, just stopping, going the other direction, like you could do with a helicopter, but a little bit more abrupt. It looks like a 40-foot long Tic Tac with no wings.
Fravor says he and his 4-man team tracked the object for several minutes until it just disappeared. Tonight, CNN has learned the Pentagon had a secretive program to research UFOs like the one Fravor spotted. The project was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, run by an official named Luis Elizondo.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work, operating in areas that we can't control.
A defense official tells CNN the program cost at least $22 million over 5 years before it was shut down in 2012. According to the New York Times and Politico, which first reported this story, tens of millions of dollars for the project were pushed through by former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Those publications say a lot of the money for the Pentagon UFO program went to a company called Bigelow Aerospace, run by a longtime friend of Reid's, Robert Bigelow, a big believer in UFOs. Public records show Bigelow contributed about $20,000 to Reid and his political action committee.
That campaign contributor got research contracts from this program. That just is a bad picture. It doesn't look good for anybody. It's hard to imagine that something that came about that way and profited somebody who pushed for the program was a good use of taxpayer money.
A Pentagon spokesman, in fact, told CNN the program was shuttered because there were, quote, other higher priority issues that merited funding.
It's definitely crazy to spend $22 million to research UFOs. Pilots are always going to see things that they can't identify, and we should probably look into them. But to identify them as UFOs, to target UFOs to research, that is not the priority we have as a...
Okay, I'm going to stop right here because this woman was like, to label them UFOs and to target UFO. What the hell is a What the fuck is a UFO?
It's something we can't explain. So something that is
this video.
Maybe from another
we couldn't
country.
Explain it.
Yeah, well, you can't explain half the stuff we say.
Yeah,
but I think it's the whole factor of there's so many questions in that video. First of all, there's a legit protocol that pilots have to, if they see anything strange, something they can't explain, they have to go and they have to record it somewhere, basically be debriefed on it. Now let's talk about first of all, the name of the program, Bigelow's. Is it run by a bunch of male strippers or not? This is the information I really want to know.
No. Bigelow is the guy.
I know it's Robert Bigelow, but
yeah.
you can't have that last name. I'm sorry. And run a secret government program. But listen to this. We're spending only $22 million on a program that's
and what's our actual budget for the military? Like in the
Hang
billions.
on. The CIA has a little program called the Center for Existential Risk on the idea that Skynet might happen, that technology might overtake humankind basically and eradicate us. So that's $500 million. So we're more worried about technology advancing to a bigger point than we are of aliens.
Yep.
that's just it throws into the realm of what we are really should be fearing, I guess, would be technology. But I think it should be something else out there, because to think, like Reagan said it best, to think we're the only ones alone in this universe is just it's stupid.
Yeah, it is, and I like I said, I'm gonna play that video with Neil in it, but it's like I've heard the question before posed all the time. Do you think there's other intelligent life out there? Well, how are we quantifying intelligence? Are we're saying we're intelligent, but what's to say aliens, or if there were extraterrestrials, they haven't swung by here and went, oh shit, those monkeys are barely doing math. Keep going. You see what I mean? Did I lose you?
No, I get what
Okay.
you're saying, but
Okay. Well, I was just making sure, because your internet was going down today. That's why, and for anybody watching, that's why the video is out right now, because they're doing maintenance on his video, and video is throttling his and buffering us. So we're cut the video on
who
his
does
feed.
internet maintenance at 8 p.m. till an estimated time of 11:30 p.m.?
Go ahead.
That does
vent,
not make
brother.
any sense. I'm
Vent
sorry,
it.
but this is
Vent
the
it.
real freaking problem here, man.
Vent it. Go ahead.
No, it's like people get home at this time. Like, what are you
No
doing?
shit. I've gone with the same problem with my internet provider, and I told him, I said, look, when I come home in the evening, I've got shows and interviews and stuff that I have to do, and y'all are going to shut down for maintenance. Well, they've changed that policy since then. Now they do the maintenance at like 4 a.m. in the morning.
That would still mess me up. I'm an insomniac, so I'm up at that time anyway.
Well, get all your spanking done before then.
On Netflix, man.
Netflix and chill. All right, well, let's finish that audio clip, and then we'll finish discussing on it, and then we'll move over to the next one.
A national security matter right now.
But pilots like Fravor, who says he saw something, see merits in the program.
What if it is real? Because I think it's real because I saw it. And what if there's more of these? And what if we do nothing?
Now, just a short time ago, Senator Reid responded to CNN saying he's, quote, proud of this program and its groundbreaking studies. Speak for themselves, he says. Reid says it's silly and counterproductive to politicize the serious questions raised by the work of the UFO program. The head of that aerospace firm, Robert Bigelow, did not respond to CNN's multiple requests for comment by our deadline. Wolf?
Brian, there's also information that former Senator Reid tried to keep information about this entire program out of public view.
That's right, Wolf. The New York Times says Reid acknowledged to them that he and two other senators, Ted Stevens and Daniel Inouye, both deceased, did not want public debate on the Senate floor over this program. Reid told the Times that the funding for the project was so-called black money, meaning that was secret money for classified programs. They just didn't want it talked about. Commander David Fravor.
So the $22 million is less than 0.004% of the department's total budget.
Yep.
It was supposed to be a pet project by the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who had a longtime interest in UFOs. But the government told the Times that the AATIP, which is the acronym for the program, had officially shut down in 2012. Its former director, the guy that released it in November, he said that he left the program in October 2017. So then they've been lying for 5 years, telling people they're not still investigating unidentified flying objects.
Well, didn't the same thing happen with Project Blue Book? We're
This
closing the book on it, and no, they didn't.
No, this is why people don't trust the government, because the government, it's not the government that's the problem, it's people. People run the government, and people tend to, if they're hiding it for your best interest, it's like people are known to be curious. Like curiosity killed the cat. Like it blows my mind. This is where stuff gets out of hand on the internet, and then people feel like everything's just a lie. We're constantly be told lies. I'm like, because we are. It might be in our best interest to not know if there's something out there, but you have to.
Oh, you think of what kind of havoc would that release on the world for if the White House came out today and said, guys, all right, look, everything that we've released is factual. We have been visited. We've encountered them. We've done the autopsies on the one, and they confirmed everything. That would change humanity overnight.
Well, I feel like every
change.
schizophrenic person is just going to start being like, I fucking knew it. I knew it. You called me schizophrenic. Honestly, for me, It would probably make me less trusting of people out in the world, which would probably be the majority population. People here would probably like not knowing if someone was an alien or not. But if it's coming out like in these secrets, like people just coming out and saying like, I believe they're already here, and everyone's kind of thinking on the same basis there's something out there. It's like if you just told us, that's going to motivate so many people not to be lazy anymore. It's going to get so many people like, wait a minute, we're not the only ones here. That means an alien's watching me in my room.
I mean, it's going to pretty much decimate religious organizations, because now they've got to go and figure out, oh crap, there's other beings out here. We're not the special ones. We may not be the special ones or whatever. And it's going to, and then you're going to have all the like you said, the conspiracy theorists are going to come forward. We knew it the whole time. And then you've got, you're kind of, like you said, paranoia of talking to people, especially if the government comes out and says, yeah, they visited us. We don't know if they're still here or not.
And the fact that the Navy announced in, I think it was the ending of April, that they were going to make new guidelines for reporting any unidentified aircrafts to stop basically stigmatizing that there are aliens out there, trying to tell people like it could be like some type of weather anomaly, which has happened. Ball lightning's been known to happen.
Yep.
But also the same fact, like there is so much in the world we don't even understand yet. And there's so many things out in the universe we're not even close to even coming to a concept of understanding.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, we're stuck here on this little speck out in this vast universe. We've explored a minute percentile of our own solar system, and we're just now getting a glimpse into the other galaxies that are farther away. And it's like, dude, there's more stars than you can count just in our galaxy.
Have you heard like what the pilot described to the History Channel about how he'd never seen something like this in his life? The thing would go from one way to another, similar to if you threw a ping pong ball against a wall.
I think I've actually got that clip tonight. It's either that or a Discovery Channel one I've got.
But then like you hear that and you're like, okay, this guy just sounds a little bit insane. And then the other pilot that was with him also said the same exact thing. Like it gave the same exact example. And it's like, all right, now we have two accounts of people that were not in the same interview.
Yeah. And see, that's what I was saying. All these people are coming forward that were on board the Nimitz, that were in these fighter jets, and their stories are meshing up together. So their stories are good. I mean, there's maybe slight differences here and there, but their stories are saying the same thing. So yeah, I find it fascinating. That's why I wanted to bring up this topic, because like I said, I've heard so many interviews this week, and it's like, wow. And so that's what I wanted to touch on tonight.
Well, what you messaged me was like USS Nimitz, and then you were like Tic Tacs. I was like, is it like a government carrier that's filled with Tic Tacs that got found? I was like, it doesn't make sense. And I started actually doing a little bit of research into it, and I was like, oh, well, this is something I completely did not know about.
Yeah, it's because it's been swept under the rug. So I've got another one here, and this one is also from CNN. And so let's go with it. Oh, come on. What the hell?
Well, it's also funny that the fact that there's a guy named Christopher Mellon, a former high-ranking U.S. intelligence official, who works for National Security Advisor to the organization. This is off history.com, by the way. I'm reading this. So I'm hoping they got a little bit of information right. But they said that there's been more than a dozen incidences off the East Coast, some as recent as 2015.
Yeah. Well, if you remember correctly, that night that you and I were discussing, and I was reading off the UFO hotline thing where you can actually report, the cigar-shaped UFO sightings are what they're describing as the Tic Tac. So, and there's been several of those. Let me see if I can get this going again. All right, let's try.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs. They call them unidentified aerial phenomena. The several videos they're talking about were recorded years ago by fighter pilots. Then in 2017, they were made public by the New York Times. More now from our Randy Kay.
Look at this thing. It's rotating. Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft, sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac, maneuvering rapidly and changing direction.
As we both looked out the right side of our airplane, we saw a disturbance in the water and a white object, oblong, pointing north.
The object was first sighted in 2004, then similar objects again in 2015. Footage of the sightings, declassified by the military, weren't made public until December 2017 by the New York Times and a group that researches UFOs.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on my ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Oh, thing, dude.
This was extremely abrupt, like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall. The ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are, and officials aren't speculating. A Navy spokesman simply confirming to CNN the objects seen in the various clips are unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. The UFO reports were first investigated by a secret $22 million program, part of the Defense Department budget, that investigated reports of UFOs. The program has since been shut down, but it was run by a military intelligence.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause it there because the rest of it's just repeating what we just heard in the last one. But yeah, he said he talked about the ping pong there. But yeah, in this one, you're actually hearing some of the, and I was watching the video footage of it too. You're actually seeing the video, those, whatever the hell it is that they've got, that they've locked on with their cameras and stuff, it's booking it.
It's funny because the way the dude was describing it, he said dude, and I was like, is this supposed to be a pilot? And he's saying, dude, how young is this man?
How young am I? And I'm saying dude.
Yeah, but you're hip.
Yeah. I keep calling everybody dude. Look up
bro.
Look up the word dude.
I think it's the fact that, like, if you start using that type of language and you're supposed to be a federal pilot, people are immediately going to discredit anything you say.
Did he say dude? I don't remember him saying
it like 4 times.
Okay, hang on just a second. Let me back that up real quick. I want to hear
He said,
that.
dude, these things are moving so quick.
Oh, no.
12,000 feet.
Dude, he didn't say that while he was doing the interview. That's on the video footage. He's talking to his friends that are flying.
Oh, I didn't know they used dude.
Yeah, well, you just see something that's like, if you were surprised and you're out there running a defensive maneuver and you're in your plane and you've got 6 other fighter jets there, you're going to be like, dude, look down there.
That's true.
Okay, so that's where he was saying dude. It wasn't him during the interview. During the interview, he was very professional. What you're hearing where he was saying dude a lot, that was because that was them just talking like bros talk to each other. I mean, they're fighter pilots. They're bros.
Gotcha.
So that was what that was what you were hearing. I was like, I don't remember him saying, but then in the actual footage. Okay. So we got that straight.
Thank you for clearing that up, because that was actually like a big thing. I was like, someone needs to talk to him about his interview skills. You don't want to say dude or bro when you're going on national television.
Yeah, no, that was the actual footage that was released. So yeah, it was excitement. It'd be like you seeing something and going, fuck.
I do that over anything, so.
Twinkies.
Yeah, I don't like Twinkies.
I don't like Twinkies either. Have you seen the new ones that came out? No, you talk about a conspiracy, the ones that have bacon in them.
No, you want to know the conspiracy is the fact that Oreos are coming out with all these flavors I can't understand.
Yeah. And I'm steering clear of the pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump over to the next video. I believe this one is from... Who's this one from?
Well, it's a bird, it's a plane, well, no one knows. Unidentified flying objects have been spotted by Navy pilots, and nobody knows where they're coming from. Now, people are wondering if the truth is really out there. For more on this, I'm joined by Chris Rutkowski. He is a science writer and UFO specialist. He is in Winnipeg.
Okay, yeah, this is the one where they're actually talking to a science writer, and he's talked to several physicists, and they've kind of weighed in on it, what they think. So here we go.
Winnipeg today, Chris. A lot of people in our newsroom are talking about this chat today. So what do you make of these sightings that these Navy pilots are talking about?
Well, they're fascinating stories. First of all, we've had reports from pilots quite a few times over the years. What's interesting is that these are fairly recent, about 5 years ago, and that they've reported seeing things zipping around that they couldn't explain. Now, we are wondering, for example, where the Air Force pilots are in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And also that there was one story that the pilots had watched these UFOs. After these UFOs had been seen for about 2 weeks, they finally decided to get a little closer. And I guess, Russian jets are always doing incursions on the eastern seaboard or the north from time to time, and they're always acted upon and responding very quickly.
Right.
We wonder why this didn't happen in this case. So it raises a lot of questions, but they're great stories.
Yeah. Do you think, though, that they are actually seeing UFOs that are extraterrestrial in nature?
Well, even the United States Navy doesn't say that outright. It actually hedges its bets. It says these are unidentified aerial phenomena or UFOs for any
Right.
other. They're not actually saying extraterrestrial. They're saying, let's take a good look at this. And I think as a scientist, we have to acknowledge this, that it's time to take a closer look. There's enough good reports by good observers. One would argue that pilots are pretty decent observers. If they're seeing something they can't explain, maybe it's time to take a closer look.
And so why? I mean, because as you study this, and in some of the things that these Navy pilots have said is they're looking at an object that is going down very, very low and then shooting up very, very high, unlike anything they've seen. I mean, you're saying we should be paying more attention, but why haven't we, though?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's a stigma that's still attached to UFOs. But, the United States Air Force finished its UFO study back in 1969 and 70. We haven't really had much input of what's going on. And now we have these Navy reports. In Canada, we actually have a better record of UFO sightings. We have a fairly good record of things going back many, many years. In fact, just this past year, we've had UFO reports by pilots. So I think some people are taking a closer look, and I think maybe the United States Navy has decided maybe we should take a look at this too.
So should we be asking ourselves, is there something more out there beyond the planets, beyond the black holes? And I know we're investigating other universes, but perhaps there are other beings out there. Maybe they think we're the aliens.
Absolutely, and I think this is perfectly timed well because there's this TV show starting tonight. There's certainly a connection there.
Yeah.
But also, we have this innate quest asking, are we alone in the universe? And we've just seen Thanos almost destroy the universe. So, maybe we're so used to seeing aliens that it's time to say, hey, are they really here? And it's time for science to take a closer look.
I think it is well beyond the Guardians of the Galaxy. That is for sure. Chris Rutkowski, science writer and UFO specialist. Thank you so much for your insights today. Really appreciate it.
Okay. I'm glad he came out and said, look, it's time that science starts looking at it instead of like people within the scientific community just poo-pooing everything when somebody says, oh, I saw a UFO. Yeah, bullshit. I mean, I've done an investigation for MUFON before. And these girls that I interviewed and got their written statement from, they were terrified. They saw something they can't explain. The person that was in the truck behind them saw something and hauled ass. I got reports from the airports. There was nothing in the air that night because anything flying has to report into our airport, which is local, to let them know what's in the air. And there was nothing that night. A couple weeks later, I saw something. Oh, excuse me. A couple weeks later, I saw something out in one of our pastures. It was a green light that shot straight up into the air, and I don't know where it went. Can I explain it? No. Do I know what it is? No. We need to put some scientific minds on this with some instruments and start looking at it. What do you think?
I definitely think we need to invest more time into explaining things that we don't know how to explain. I mean, I honestly, I thought my jokes were bad when it came to those references. They were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and all these types of things. But we've been obsessed with space for so long now. It's so crazy to think that that there isn't something out there, that people are still completely oblivious to it or just chalk off the notion that there isn't something out there. I'm like, there's been constant sci-fi thing, at least influence in our society. We're constantly worried about going into Mars, finding a next inhabitable Earth, Goldilocks planet. I'm like, what's out of the realm of possibility that there's another type of being out there that has made contact, made time travel, did all these types of things, and they've made international spacecrafts that can come down to here and just monitor over us. Maybe it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. They're just using a cloaking device in the air because they're too afraid to make contact.
Wouldn't you be if you are standing back and observing humanity from a distance?
Yeah, watching everybody nuke each other. We had a plan called Project A119 where it was literally to launch a nuke at the moon just to show how powerful we are.
Yeah.
Like we're self-destructive as people. We're just they're watching us at a distance, waiting for it to finally hit a point to the point where like, why don't we just do the Earth a favor?
Yeah, and I honestly think we are and they are monitoring us, they're looking down at us and they're like, wow, these people are still fighting over who created everything.
That person didn't get their Starbucks, man.
It was like, good grief, man. World wars have been fought over this. I mean, today I was discussing it with somebody, and I was telling him, he said something about who was probably one of the most notorious torture, because we were talking about torture methods, and I said, oh, you want to find out about torture methods? I said, look up some of the old Christian torture methods.
The Iron Bull, man.
Or the pike in the butt.
Yeah, they lowered you on a giant pike.
Yep. Or the Iron Maiden, or the Pair of Anguish.
Nah, the Iron Bull's probably the worst one, I think.
Yep. Well, that one wasn't Christians though that did it. They were actually
still the worst one, dude. I mean, we used to slice people at the stomach and then tie a rope around each of their limbs and tie them to different horses and have them run off, and they would split you up like that. But honestly, the Iron Bull, like burning alive in a metal bull, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna toss that up with the pike in the butt, because you live like 3 days with that, and that thing comes out of your mouth. Ooh.
Yeah, it's like growing bamboo under you.
Yeah, that's a bad one too. So basically, humans are trash.
No, we have some good aspects to us, but we choose in the worst part of our adopted nature, I call it. We're not meant to be like how we are today. We're not meant to be so comfortable, be so rude to others. On the concept of, we've became way too comfortable as people. It always takes something very, very dramatic as a society for us that we have to go through for us to reach our true human nature, which is the best aspect of caring for one another. But sadly, nowadays, it's not going to take something like that unless it's a giant terroristic attack, I hate to say, another world war, or maybe aliens coming down for us to realize, oh shit, like there's a problem. Like when Independence Day happened, I bet you, or not, happened, but when the movie was, the concept of it was everybody came together to fight this thing that was literally destroying us as
right
people.
And my hope is that if we are being visited and they finally come down one day, they're going to come down and say, look, dude, y'all need to stop. Y'all are fucking
intervene.
up. Y'all are fucking up. Y'all have destroyed your own planet. Or did you watch Good Omens on Prime?
Yeah.
You remember the aliens that came down and said, we're going to have to write you a citation for pretty much destroying your planet.
It's a $250 million fine.
Yeah.
It's the concept, like, I don't want to rely my faith in humanity to be saved by Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. I'm sorry. I don't think that would be the best possible aspect. But I think that if aliens did come down, or if there are aliens out there, why does it have to be the same concept like God, where he doesn't intervene? He watches us try and fix our own messes.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense a lot of times. Oh, hey, my dog's barked. Yay. I was kind of getting lonely here. But okay, so that one, and the next video clip I have is the one I was telling you from the Discovery Channel. And then we'll wrap it up with Neil deGrasse Tyson telling us what he thinks about this whole thing. So
serenading us to sleep with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love it.
Are extraterrestrials making contact with Earth, or is it something else?
How about this 2004 Nimitz report we got? This next hit. Let's open it up. We're going to use the same methodology here that I use in my conflict analysis. So before we can determine whether extraterrestrials have contacted mankind, we must first eliminate terrestrial technology as a source for what we see happening in our airspace. And the 2004 Nimitz incident is the best evidence we have to begin to answer that question.
Look at this. It's incredible.
It is absolutely.
There it goes. Look at that.
In 2004, the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier was stationed off the coast of San Diego, California, when one of the ship's fighter jets engaged a strange object in the sky, capturing footage of the incident on its infrared camera.
This is not some crazy person with their cell phone on Instagram, right? This is a $15 billion aircraft carrier with its radar systems, everything state of the art. What is that?
We went out there primarily to do individual ship training. I started noticing these really anomalous tracks, unlike nothing I'd ever seen before. And these objects
And this is a different fighter pilot than the one that was interviewed on TV.
were coming into my radar coverage. There was probably 10 objects in the sky.
10.
In the back of my mind, I was thinking, I want to intercept one of these things. And so I launched an intercept aircraft. He started making the approach to this object, and that's when everything changed. This thing did a barrel roll around his aircraft.
Really?
Then went straight down to the surface of the ocean. He went following it down, and as soon as he went like that, this thing popped straight back out of the water, back up to 28,000 feet.
What?
Did it make a sound?
No, it's completely quiet. You know, something going that fast, it's gonna sound like boom, 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 boom. It's gonna have a whole bunch of sonic booms. No sonic booms.
Can you talk us through the technology that you witnessed?
If you can imagine a 47-foot-long Tic Tac, they didn't have any wings, they didn't have any propulsion system. They could travel from point A to point B in a matter of a second, even though it was miles and miles and miles away. And if anything biological would have been in that thing, given Newtonian physics, classical physics, it would have turned you into mush. There's no way you could withstand that type of G-force. I think the human body can withstand about 8 Gs. This thing had 1,350 Gs. You'd have been paced.
It literally gives me chills listening to this.
I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. The fact that we have military personnel that witnessed multiple objects, and not only were they eyewitnesses personally, but we have it on official DoD video. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. So, and which also, should the video be suspect?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know with Photoshop and how powerful it is today.
Yeah, I don't think the video is suspect because all these pilots have come forward and said, yeah, that's the video we shot. So, I mean, even the people on the aircraft carrier were like, yeah, that's the video that we recorded on our end. So, yeah, it's interesting. This was a perspective from a different pilot that I was actually watching, because he mentioned that Steve went down to engage it, and that's when it started doing its maneuvering. And 1,300 Gs. Could you imagine that?
Dude, it's when everybody's kind of saying the same exact thing, giving the same kind of account of something they saw. It's like, you got a bunch of witness accounts now. Wouldn't you want to at least let people know, like, hey, there is this possible thing out there?
Well, and I think that's why they released it. And they did it in the right way. Honestly, I think they did, because they released it and they said, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, but why would they release it so late, though? Why don't they just explain in the beginning when they found it? That's the problem.
That's the problem right there, where they kept it hidden since 2004. So, yeah, it's interesting. That's why I wanted to bring up this topic tonight, because it's kind of an after dark subject, and there's a lot of people that listen on my show that I know personally that really love anything to do with the UFO phenomenon. And, you know, you call it UFO, UAV, UAP, whatever you want. It still stands for unidentified. We cannot identify it. And so what I just want to, before I jump over here to have Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson's sultry voice lull us to sleep tonight, I would like for everybody to remember this. Look, you carry a phone with you every day. You're so quick to whip that son of a bitch out to look at a bug or look at one of your friends doing something stupid. If you see something in the sky, I get tired of these excuses like, well, I didn't even think about using my phone. Bull crap. Y'all will point your phone at the most idiotic things. point your phone at it, and either bring us the video footage or shut up, because that's the way I look at it. Because a lot of these people, I didn't even think to point my phone at it, and they're just giving us an eyewitness testimony of what they saw. I think a lot of those are doing it for attention, especially when they're telling you this, and then you can see an iPhone in their pocket.
Yeah, because it barely fits in their pocket.
Yeah, no joke. Because I'm sorry, if I see something strange, hell, I see something going on the highway that I'm like, this could potentially be bad, I'd put my phone on record. So I've got something, because, well, we know eyewitness testimony can change. And that's what I wanted to mention here. Okay, let's talk about the eyewitness testimony. These guys are trained. They had to go through debriefings and document, and all their stories are matching up with their debriefings. But as far as like us, the civilians out in the world that are giving their eyewitness testimonies to things, I saw a study that was done a while back where they actually took just to show you how uncredible eyewitness testimony was. They had somebody walk down into a subway that was full of people, and they had several people that were Confederates, what they call a Confederate. They're actually in on it. And this one person stood there, and then all of a sudden they just started yelling, "Hey, stop him. He ran off with my radio." And then a fake police officer came in and started taking witness testimony. And you know what? These witnesses started describing the guy that ran off with the radio. They started describing the type of radio, the color of the clothing that the guy was wearing, and this and that, back and forth. There was never a radio. So that should show you how your brain can convince you something happened when it actually didn't. So that's why I say, whip that phone out, record that crap.
Yeah, it's so much easier just to have it out and recording, I guess. But I mean, we live in a world where people are like, I don't want to be recorded. I don't want to be this. I'm like, man, sometimes you're going to miss something.
Exactly. So, well, let's wrap it up with Neil, and then we'll wrap up the show for tonight. How's that sound?
Sounds like Neil deGrasse Tyson's about to whisk me away to dreamland.
Rock and roll. Here we go.
I saw it in The Last Jedi, but we should probably figure out the practicality of this with astrophysicist director of the Hayden Planetarium, Neil deGrasse Tyson, rock star of science explanation.
It's real because it's in the movie, so it's real.
And this is his book, which is awesome, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. God bless you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I got to pause this real quick. If any of you have not gotten that book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, please go out and get it. That is an excellent book. I bought the hardcover and the Audible version and thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm still shocked that people care about it at the level they have.
You shouldn't be. You are our science explainer in chief. And so explain what you see on that video.
Well, so people, I think, have conflated the concept of a UFO with whether we're visited by aliens. UFO means unidentified flying object. Okay? This is a highly non-specific term.
Yeah.
It is so non-specific, it admits you don't know what you're looking at.
But what's driving that thing if not a space alien?
It's unidentified.
Okay.
So
that's not good enough.
Well, so the universe brims with mysteries. And so just because you don't know what it is you're looking at doesn't mean it's intelligent aliens visiting from another planet.
Yes.
You just said you don't know what you're looking at. So it's not, you cannot, as a next sentence, say, therefore it must be anything.
Yes, but you know what we're looking at. You stare at the cosmos for a living.
I'm not authorized to go beyond this.
Wow.
You're in.
But we're serious. So
No, a couple of things. Just
what do you see?
Consider what made people interested in this is that it involved the Pentagon and $22 million, whatever the figure was. Consider, by the way, that's $22 million over 5 years, and the Pentagon's budget is huge. So how much of the Pentagon budget is that? It's 0.0001% of the Pentagon budget. So A. B, it's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out. I would hope there's a program of our Defense Department to make sure they do not pose a threat. And sure enough, that's what that program was.
But it's just buzzed away. They didn't know what it was.
Of course.
We still don't know. It's a mystery.
We still don't know.
Wait, hold on.
And I'm cool with that.
Okay, that's where we differ. You're cool with letting that.
Scientists live in mystery every day of our lives. There is the circle of knowledge that we have, and then there's beyond that circle is the unknown. And even as the perimeter of that knowledge grows, okay, as the area of the knowledge grows, so does the perimeter of our ignorance. All right, because it's touching this wider and wider area.
Okay, I understand.
So
But
people are uncomfortable not knowing, not the scientist. I'm fine. We don't know what it is. Keep checking it out.
Okay,
Go
but hold
Call
on
me,
a second. There's
call
another
me
question.
when you have dinner invite from an alien.
That's
a
so
different
you're
conversation.
skeptical. Yes. You're skeptical that space aliens have visited Earth.
The evidence is so paltry for aliens to visit Earth. I have no further interest. Let other people who care go ahead. And then when you finally find some aliens, bring them into Times Square. No, there are too many weird people.
That's happened.
That would not stand out in Times Square.
Right.
And try not to come back during Comic-Con when the alien would just blend in. Go to the county fair or something where there's a uniformity of who's there. And then and everybody's got a high definition video camera on them now. We have video footage of rare things that you knew happened, but no one saw it happen. Like buses tumbling in tornadoes. In the day, you didn't say, oh, that bus is about to tumble. Let me go back and get my video camera to film this. No, you got your tail out of there. Everybody's got a video camera. I'm just waiting for images of people visiting, having tea with aliens on the spacecraft.
But you do acknowledge that carbon is not a rare substance, and there must be carbon-based life forms out there somewhere.
If there's life
right?
elsewhere, it is likely based on carbon, not only because carbon is abundant, but it is highly versatile in what kinds of molecules it makes. And if you need the diversity of life, is enabled and empowered by the diversity of the molecules carbon can give you.
Do you think there's intelligent life out there?
I would first start with that question on Earth. You set me up for that. No, so the question is, have aliens visited and just kept going because there was no sign of intelligent life? We've used our, who defined us as intelligent? We did. Okay. So is that some cosmic measure of intelligence? Perhaps not. And so who are we to say? I'm just saying, it seems to me aliens who visited us, they would manifest more convincingly than fuzzy video. And there's no reason to assume that because you don't know what you're looking at, it equals aliens that visited us from outer space. I'm glad the Pentagon was looking at this, because if it posed a threat, I want them on top of it right away. And otherwise, and the program is closed down, and it said, okay, not a threat.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, the book again, Astrophysics for People in a...
I don't want to...
Okay, there we go. Do you agree with what he said?
I believe he is a wonderful speaker. I mean, to be honest with you, like, let somebody else figure it out. Like, that was perfect.
Yeah, it's like and like you said, I'm perfectly happy with not knowing. It's unidentified. Okay, great. Let's move on. Next question.
Do you think that we're gonna find out when the time is right? Like, if there are aliens out there, do you think that we're just basically we should just wait until they show themselves, or do you think we should constantly be looking and be aware?
I think we should be looking. I don't have a problem with like the SETI program and stuff like that looking for, but the only problem that I foresee with that is we're looking for archaic type signals, radio signals. So let's say we get a signal from a star that's 100 light years away. We get a signal and we're like, oh, we got an actual signal that has data in it that we can analyze. It has information, excuse me again. Has information that we can look at. Let's send a signal back. How do we know that civilization is even still there? Because of how long it took for that radio signal to reach us. 100 light years away, it's going to take 100 million years for that to reach us.
True. That's the same thing with Interstellar when they went to that planet and it was still sending back messages.
Yep. So, I mean, there we go. So maybe if we do get that signal and we're like, yes, we got the signal, that civilization may have died off, say 500 million years ago, and or decided, hey, you know what? Our rock is a little small. Let's move out. There may not be anybody home for us to return a signal to. So that's where we're at tonight. So guys, I mean, well, I guess we're going to wrap this up at an hour tonight. So, Robbie, you got any final thoughts you want to put in on this?
I believe that if we had more people like Neil deGrasse Tyson trying to tell things to people. I believe that's where we could release aliens, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If Neil deGrasse Tyson came out and told everybody aliens do exist, they are real, I guarantee you it would be a less harmful reaction than if some just lieutenant said it.
Or somebody from the Pentagon or the White House. Oh yeah, aliens. If Neil deGrasse Tyson came out and said, "All right, guys, look, I'm going to be the one to let y'all know there are aliens. They have been visiting us. It's cool. That Tic Tac video was real and legitimate, and yeah, they want to help us out." People would be like, "Oh, okay, thank you, Neil."
Yeah, they're not going to be the ones like, maybe they might not be destructive. Maybe they might just be offering a guiding hand, like maybe a way to fix our agriculture system or something. Maybe instead of using so many GMOs, they could find a way to give us like, water that's usable, like the ocean water we have. Instead of getting a device that just filters out the salt, maybe they put something in that water to make it, hey, now you can drink it.
Yeah, or hey guys, look, we can help you guys out because we know you're going to be having these issues with your planet coming up. We can actually help you guys out genetically to survive this. So there we go, guys. This was your After Dark edition. So Robbie, why don't you let the listeners know how they can reach you? And,
Out of the blank.
Out of the Blank. Out of the Blank podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and I think you're on iTunes, aren't you?
Yeah, it's on whatever Anchor uploads. I just throw that on Anchor and let them do the work for me.
I do the same thing with Podbean. I'm like, shoot that sucker out.
I got to get on that one.
Podbean's good. Anchor is the free one, isn't it?
Is Podbean money?
Yeah, Podbean costs about $14.95 a month, or if you pay for an entire year, it turns out to about $9 a month. And it gives you
options.
It gives you analytics. It gives you all kinds of good stuff. It gives you a map of the world and tells you where your listeners are. And so speaking of
So does Anchor.
Yeah, speaking of that, I've got some new listeners from in Morocco and Germany this week that popped up.
My podcast is actually pretty popular in places I've never been to, such as Canada. Estonia, there's a large population of people in Estonia, so hopefully they're not taking all my information as creditable sources, because you will be thrown down a really wrong rabbit hole.
Yep. Also, hey, while I got you on the show, tell everybody about your new little product you got.
What new little product?
The T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, we got merch now.
Yeah.
I sold out.
Oh, you sold out already? Wow.
No, I mean, not sold out of merch, just sold out to the big man.
Oh, okay. Sold out. Yeah, he's got some Out of the Blank podcast T-shirts. I guess I need to do some T-shirts too.
That's what I was at the beginning. I was like, I don't really need this, and then I was like, I wonder what would be cool if I just put this on a shirt. And like people started buying it. I'm like, who are these people that are buying it? It was so weird, dude. I got a message. It was a person wearing my shirt, and I was like,
saw that.
Holy crap! Like it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I was wondering who bought a shirt. Next thing I know, it's like, bam, they're wearing it. I'm like, that's awesome.
Kind of helps build up the self-esteem a little bit to let you know
makes
that you're actually reaching somebody.
Especially when you're at your day job and you're just like, I don't even have to be here anymore. I can just go home and just podcast all day.
Yeah. So with that, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up tonight. Like, once again, if you need to reach me, you can contact me at stalkermailbox@gmail.com, or you can call into the show at 361-433-5739. Come on, guys. We got that number. Nobody's used it yet.
He likes haunted dolls, and he likes other things that are very haunted.
And also, I'm going to do this on a side note, since this is the After Dark show and it's usually adults listening. Today I posted it on Facebook. You know, over the past 3 days, I've gotten 27 phone calls from the same company, and each time it's a different person. And I was like, okay, they're saying that they're representing my health insurance. I doubt it. So I told them, I said, look, I don't have time to talk to you right now. Send it to me in writing. I'd be more than happy to look at it.
Is it about Johns Hopkins?
No, it has to do with my pharmacy benefits for my health insurance.
Oh, okay.
Like
I had a different one happen to me recently. I got like 4 years ago, I was in this thing with Johns Hopkins where they took 18 vials of my blood and then they lost it and they never sent the results over and we never heard anything back for 8 months. And then I got a letter in the mail from a lawyer saying, I could sue for malpractice. Now it's been like 4 years later, and they just contacted me a second time. They're like, seriously, you're part of one of 650 reported cases where this doctor has been no longer in the business anymore. He no longer works at Johns Hopkins. He was actually running your insurance company through a lot of extra testing. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but this is why I don't have medical insurance now. And I hung up because I was like, sometimes you have that bad first, I guess, perception of things.
Yeah. Well, mine, it has to do with like pharmacy benefits. And that's what this company keeps telling me. I doubt it is, because they're going to start asking me for private information. I'm not giving that crap out over the phone. So I just told them, I said, look, send it to me in writing. I'm very familiar with what my insurance covers. And so send it to me in writing. Let me know what the new products are that I can supposedly buy. Okay, great. They kept calling and calling. So I started blocking the number. Well, then they'd call from a different number. I'd block that number. They'd call from a different number. 3 days, 27 phone calls. Same damn thing. So we're riding along yesterday in the truck. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to end this. I figured it out. So the very next phone call I got, they told me, they introduced themselves with this and this and this. Your pharmacy, we want to tell you about your benefits. Would you be interested in hearing it? And I was like, no. I just want to know one question. And they were like, well, what's that? I said, can I buy a penis pump on my insurance? Click. Somebody called back again. I asked the same question. Click. I have yet to receive a phone call the rest of the day.
That's a good one to ask them, because I asked a woman that called on a survey for the CDC about head trauma or something, and I was like, I just have one question for you and I'll answer all your questions. And she said, what is it? And I said, is it true that they have a training thing in their manual on how to deal with zombies? And she's like, I am not authorized to disclose that information. And I was just like, thank you. And I hung up.
Yep. So you heard it here. CDC's got something to do with zombies, and my insurance company will not buy me a penis pump.
This is the stuff we should have been talking about.
Yeah. So with that, guys, we are out of here tonight. I love you guys. And if you feel froggy, subscribe to the show, share it, like it, send it to some friends. Do the same thing with Robbie's Out of the Blank podcast. Subscribe to it, share it, send it out. It helps us be seen, and it helps our show to grow. And with that, we love you guys, and we're out of here. Say bye, Robbie.
Bye.
Okay.
Now, here comes the music.
We want to thank you for tuning in to the Anything Goes project. If you like this show, subscribe and share it. That would greatly help us out. To contact the show, email us at stalkermailbox@gmail.com. We love hearing from our subscribers and our listeners. The Anything Goes project can be found on iTunes, Castbox, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and many other Android applications. And once again, thanks for listening.